Okay, so studio. Mbona nasema student? Studio audience has picked a paper. Because you can't see her, so I'm trying to narrate it for you.
Well, in fact, a picture.
New age GengeTone.
Oh, new age GengeTone.
Yes,
What is that?
You know?
How is
Okay.
that written? Is that English?
It isn't. It is.
GengeTone. You know GengeTone? I think akina sailors are
Oh,
Yes,
epic, those
yes,
people.
yes. So, akina sailors, akina tricky.
No clue who that is.
Okay,
I praise God for you.
Wamlambez guys.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a trend now. Like
Apparently.
music.
So you remember back in the day there was akina Genge, akina Pilipili, Lady S,
yeah.
those
Johan,
ones,
Johan,
them ones,
yes.
yeah. So now, with the Kenyan music industry, it's trying to make a comeback of Kenyan music because really, when you look at our music, we kind of sort of don't have a trademark of what makes us Kenyan music.
Yeah.
So now our ndo wamekuja wakajirename Genge music. I added the new age juu that's not the Genge music I knew or understood.
Yes.
So yeah, and it's on a wave. It's on a wave right now. So
Of all the people to think.
so yeah, new age GengeTone.
Wait, is it safe to say that Genge is supposed to be like Kenyan hip hop?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, that's what it was initially. Because
Okay.
now this is really not hip hop. This is just
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, now I'm getting what that is. I don't think I know any other than Wamlambez. I don't even know who sang that song.
We thank God for you. Usitake jua. Usitake jua.
Unataka kukata sengine?
You know, I
You said
don't know
about
what
epic.
to say about it because I think if you ask different age groups, the answer will be different.
Yeah.
I sometimes think that we don't get that music because we are now grown up and we think. When I listen to the songs that we used to love, you know, singing along to when we were younger, right now they don't make sense to me. But they bring a certain joy in my heart.
Yeah.
Even though, you know, so I guess that's what happened. That's what's happening with our teenagers right now. They're just happy to groove along. They're not thinking through it.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether to say it's overrated or underrated. I just think they're in a phase. Now, I also think it's a little bit dirtier than it needs to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also granted they're looking for their identity, personality, they're trying to be to have attitude and not look weak, and there's all manner of things teenagers are doing. So to some extent I get it. And I know for a fact that in a couple of years Wamlambez will not be it will just be you remember that thing we used to say that they don't even know what they're saying really if you think about it. So I don't know really. I mean, it's better than it needs to be. I don't.
It's very dirty.
Yeah.
Filthy.
Yeah. They're looking for feeling maybe, or they're looking for attitude.
Yeah.
And I get that as teenagers. So maybe I'm just praying that the process will be quicker, that they'll become wiser than their age, quicker than they need to stay longer in that phase. But I get it.
Okay.
I think the whole thing I have an issue with now adults supporting this, because I get young people listening to that. My issue is just when I see people my age or older listening to this music, and it's really filthy. Like, and you guys getting worse. It's bad. Yes, that's my biggest issue with this music, because the more support they're getting, there's the younger support. But then my fear is just even people who are very old, they're literally influencing on ages. That is my concern, and I am disturbed by that, because if someone who's older, who knows better, is singing along to this and supporting this, promoting this, there's even someone who's collaborating with them, and there's someone who's over 30, and you are, especially if you were part of the Genge before, and then you are supporting this and you're collaborating with that is my concern.
Okay.
I like what has said. Never thought about it from that point.
I think.
Okay. So behind the camera, Terry, I think it's overrated because no, it's not overrated. I get why it can be overrated because it's a catchy tune. I'm a curious person, so I did listen, and I looked for other people, and I listened as well. And yeah, it's filthier than it needs to be. Like there's some of it that is, I don't want to say they're promoting rape, but there's a rape connotation to the music. I mean, what happened to making love or seducing somebody first, So yeah, it's the filth is on another level. It's not just sex maybe. It's rape, and it's forceful, and it's like it doesn't need to be like that. But on the catchy part, I get why it's overrated. The tone and the beats and the whatever, those are catchy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I overrated for sure.
I think in general, I just have an issue with entertainment, like the tone that our entertainment is taking. I feel like, and I wouldn't, okay, maybe I'll go as far as saying that each person should be like very intentional with the kind of things that they choose as entertainment for themselves.
Yeah.
I think that because the things that you feed your mind, like they actually reflect, they actually show up in your character,
Yes.
in your, like it's evident in your life. You might say, I listen to this, but that's not who I am. But it starts to degrade you.
Yeah.
It starts from that sensitization about even just women, or
Yeah.
about your neighbor, or in just starting to look at this person and see and take on the perspective of the person you're listening to. If this person says, oh, women are whatever, and
Tools,
basically. And
basically.
you say, okay, I wouldn't rape a woman, but you start to think a woman can't tell me anything. And then you're like, yeah, but I still wouldn't rape a woman. But it starts to degrade you slowly.
And then later on you did therapy.
Yes.
To
Figure out
Where am I?
did this start from? And it's not, and even if we take it away from music, even the things we watch, like you'll notice people that watch really, really violent things, even if they say, I myself am not violent, but you are comfortable with it.
Yeah.
Which means when it moves away from the screen and it comes in your life, even if it's not you
You'll
personally
be
doing it,
desensitized.
you will entertain it.
Like, oh, this thing
You'll
happened.
say, yeah,
It's already a
happens, it's
norm to your
okay.
brain because you're
Yes.
used to seeing it.
Yes, so you will
So-
not do anything to change a trend towards such a negative direction.
Yeah.
But if we were actually conscious with the entertainment that we feed ourselves, so that the things that you're watching and listening to are either like informing you, educating you, or even if they're making you feel good, it's not at the expense of another human being.
True.
And it's not at the expense of your morals or your convictions,
My neighbor's morals, my
Yes.
neighbor's convictions.
I think freedom doesn't mean I can do whatever I want, everybody else be damned.
Yeah.
I think it's I can do whatever I want that makes me better and makes other people better, not makes me better. Full
Yeah,
stop.
yeah.
I think we have to stop living in such an individualized.
Yeah,
Like if I like it, I don't care what anybody thinks. No,
Yeah,
you should care. You should care what the music you're listening to or the things you're watching are saying about the people around you, the people you interact with, the people you claim to love. Because I'm pretty sure all of us have somebody around us that we care about that's marginalized. Whether it's a young girl or a mother, an aunt, someone, or even men. Men are marginalized in a way. So how can you just sit back and say, I'm okay, I won't rape someone, I won't, I don't know, I won't call women this, this and that. But you're saying it's okay.
Yeah, you're basically calling them that in another person's voice
Yeah,
or another
yes.
person's whatever. Yeah.
Yes.
You're doing it in extension.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's,
I think for me, I'll say it's overrated. Going with what Lorraine said, I think it's just a wave, and they just come and pass. Kitambo, Jua Kali, Akina Pili Pili were the hit, and we used to listen to those songs. Then now another group came up, people, you know,
Yeah.
2, 3, 5 years, then there's this group,
Yeah.
people are hyped about it, then another, it's something that will
Yeah.
come
Yeah,
very,
fast.
it's very, comes, goes, and
Yeah.
then another comes, goes. So I
Yeah.
think at the end of the day, whatever you feed your soul with or your mind with is what you get out. And I think it's just being intentional, know what you want.
Yeah.
If that's your kind of music, because I wouldn't want to make this like a music discussion. What should we listen to? What should we not listen to? But whatever you think is right for you,
Yeah.
Yeah,
then
yeah.
take it
That's
in.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. just
And
act.
that's sorry. And like, if you like that kind of music, accept that's your identity. Stop saying, "Oh, I like this music, but me, I'm not like that."
Yeah. Love it kabisa
Just
kabisa.
accept. It's okay.
Because
Yeah.
I drink alcohol, but I drink wine.
Yes.
I
Yeah. I like.
Kwani
I like
wine
alcohol.
ni
Iko na
juice.
alcohol content. That's
Yeah.
I don't drink alcohol, but I
So
drink.
if it's what you like, accept it. Understand what does that mean? What does
Yeah.
that say about?
Good.
And it's okay.
But you will know if you do QT. Back to
By the way,
Quiet time and
zime-
therapy.
you will
they're
know.
actually
Yeah. I even just I think to add my other fear is it is unfortunately a reflection of our society. Because it means we are in a space where someone can comfortably go to a recording studio and talk about sex from the beginning to the end, and then go give someone produce, and then go put it on YouTube, and then there's an adult who go and put it in a matatu, regardless of whoever is going to be in that matatu. So I think it's also a reflection on a lot of things, like school, church, parents, everyone. Are we talking to our siblings about these things? Are we talking to our friends about this? I think that is what is also scaring me. It's a reflection of what we are okay with.
But you see, even like back then, so okay, when I was looking into this Matu Genge whatever, and then I was trying to also look at the music that has been then. In the 80s, my God,
Yeah.
my God, it was nasty. It was nasty. Achana na hizi zenye zimehit. No, kuna zingine right on there. Alafu kuna zingine they're just contentless. Umeona hiyo ya Peacock? Yeah, the Peacock. That kamim, like sasa mnaongelelea as if, you know, it just So again,
We do a lot of QT.
yeah. Sorry. So yeah.
Have content.
Aina content. Like it's just on a picker. No. Coco.
Is it a Kenyan song?
No. It
But
sounds
it's
Southern
maybe-
Africanish.
Maybe. Or Central African.
Central.
This is something I
Central,
want to
Southern.
see.
African.
Yeah, it's African. It's African
But it
music,
did
so
well.
content.
The song did well.
Then I guess, because if it's resurfacing now,
Yeah.
it must have done well then. So yeah, I think again, it all boils down to you as a person and what morals and what things you allow into yourself. Because if we into yourself, anyway. So if we're saying the society right now, there's also a really bad time back then. So yeah. Ni phases zitakam ziishe. It will. I mean, like everything else has just been changing with fashion, with music, with what. It'll all come and go.
Yeah.
So
I think
I pray that God remains the constant in our lives. Amen.
Amen.
I think the one advantage I can see about this new age music is it's allowed for some conversations to happen that were previously
Yes.
completely taboo.
Yeah.
Like you could never, and now across the board we can talk about that, you know.
Yeah. I mean, if we're talking about it right now, then
Yes.
yeah, it's something to look into. I hope what when you're now watch, you think through these things. Yeah, feminism.
Okay. So feminism. I'll say, I think feminism is overrated and underrated. Okay. Underrated in terms of how important it is in the development of basically the country, the globe, like people as a general. The idea that, okay, maybe let's first define that feminism is the belief that men and women are entitled to equal rights, equal opportunities, just
Equal pay.
yes, equal pay, yes, yeah. So just that, if a man can get this job, a woman equally qualified should be able to get that job
And be paid the same
paid
amount.
the same. Yes, basically it's that. So it's underrated in that people don't understand how important that is for a nation. To have more than half of the population being paid half of what the other is being paid, or have less access to the opportunities that the rest have, it's slowing all of us down. It's a waste of our energy, our resources, our capacity as humans. It's just, we may as well just say Turudi Stone Age. Turudi to Stone Age, let's hunt and gather. That's where we are at.
And you smoke signals.
Yeah, really. Because, for example, in the last census, weren't women more than men? So imagine that all those women have half the opportunities that men have like, they cannot advance as men can, as far as men can in terms of their career or education. Like, what? That's less per capita for the entire country. That means even the debt we're struggling to pay can only be paid by maybe 3/4 of the population, maybe, rather than the whole. This thing really annoys me.
We need it.
Yes, and then now where also the issue is that people don't understand what we mean by feminism. So the people who are fighting for it don't understand, and some of the people, most of the people fighting against it don't understand what it means, and there is the issue. Now where I would say it's overrated now, okay, let me not say overrated, let me say misunderstood. I really don't like people who are fighting for feminism as though it is the belief that what a man can do, a woman can do. That's not what it is. That's not. No. A man, we can't do everything that men can do. They also can't do everything we can do. And that's the beautiful part about it. Like, God made us complementary, not identical. And that's the best way for us to function. So it's just for people to be fighting and saying that feminism is, if I'm in a house with my husband, he can cook, he should cook, and I cook, like he cooks today, I cook tomorrow.
Cut onions, I cut
yes,
tomatoes.
I wash the clothes and that's not feminism.
You all are not married. Can you allow me to talk about whether?
No,
We will
no,
come,
but that's
we will come
that
to
is
you.
help. Yes.
We will come to you.
Yes,
I am his helper.
but
So you should start the process of acting
Yes.
cynical side.
yes, but the issue is that is not called feminism.
Yeah.
That's not what feminism is. Right? So then you're having people opposing feminism as that. So they're slowing down an entire movement of people who are trying to empower men and women, because feminism is not about women. It's about both men and women. So
Really?
yes, it is the belief that men and women are entitled to equal rights and opportunities and equal pay, all of that. So people who are just saying, oh no, it's just women, and then the men who are fighting that, like, they're slowing each other down. Please go online, read.
All men should be feminists.
Yes, everyone should be a feminist. Just because the name is there doesn't mean that it's only, just because it says feminism doesn't mean it's only for females. It's the same way, like, we have menopause, but it's not for men. Like, it can go across the board. Like, don't look. I think that's it's very ignorant to say, oh, you see, it says females. That's so stupid.
And then what feminism came up because at that time when that movement was starting, the female side were disadvantaged.
Yes.
So they came up fighting for rights for everyone, but at that time the men were advantaged. So
they were
that's
trying
the
to
name
uplift
the women.
Yes. So
to
it's
the
not
understanding level.
It's not about making women better than men. It's about
equal,
making us
equality.
equal.
or at least try.
I think for me, I would say it's underrated. Wait, over, under.
Just explain that.
Because I feel like at times when people look at, maybe we don't understand what feminism is really. People don't really understand it. Because how people take it, especially females, is I need to have my own thing going on. I need to be independent. You know, I need to have a good job. I need to earn as much as you do. Like we're trying to keep up with the men. So I think that's how people see it. Like if you're a feminist, you have to have it. You know, figured
and
out.
you're anti-men.
And you're
anti-men.
So I think that is what people see it as. They don't understand how you put it. So I think it's a topic that can be explored further because people don't really understand it because they take it in a this version of women's rights and being.
I think it's a conversation that was happening today a part of Twitter, and there's this movement going around to change the whole feminism name altogether. So I'd say the wrong definition of feminism is overrated. The right definition of feminism is underrated. It's as simple as that. So a lot of people are victimizing each other, but they don't. And Google, the first definition will show you what feminism is. So all of us are functioning from a point of ignorance, and so we are busy bashing each other. Oh, I hate men, or I don't like men. Or
Because you're a feminist.
these two movements that are coming that are now becoming too much to a point where, for instance, this whole Me movement, which was a good movement, but now it became the Me Too movement. But then it became too much now to a point where if a guy, like guys are so scared of even getting closer to women. Just even just up a choco, like are you giving me consent, Simone, to get closer to you? It became that bad. But also under doing it, people, because ideally at the end of the day, there are a lot of things women are going through. Think about it, guys. Every single 4 days of every month, women are not at par with men. 4 to 5 days every single month. You're not okay health-wise. You're not okay in terms of, like, your hormones are taking control of your body. A lot of women are experiencing a lot of issues at work, things to do with harassment, things to do with when you get pregnant at a given age. People don't want to hire you because you might get pregnant and cost the company, or you won't even get hired because there's a possibility you might get. So if we get the right definition of feminism, then we will actually address such issues. Or the other flip side of, because we're overdoing feminism, a lot of people are neglecting the guys. And so a lot of us are not really investing in the male population. We're not really questioning a lot of things they're doing. We are assuming that they are okay, because that's the wrong definition of feminism. We are assuming that they are better off already. So it's every woman who is born and everyone who's existing is supposed to compete with a man. But then we are forgetting that these men also need things. And so because the wrong definition of feminism is overrated, there's a serious decline of care and attention to men. Then at the end of the day, you have overdone feminism. Then this woman who has the wrong idea of things is getting married to this man who has the wrong idea of things. And so people are getting married or are being pressured to become things they are not, and then the whole society
From
is
a
just
wrong
a mess.
definition.
So yes, so I think it's just get the definition straight. Back to Lorraine. I don't hear what you say.
said, I remember something I listened to. There's this really smart guy. I can't remember his name. Maybe Jordan Peterson or Jordan Patrick. I can't remember his name.
It's just a J.
Yeah, Ajay. And he said that women want to be considered equal to men. And you can do that until a woman becomes 32, 33. Then they don't want the career anymore. A study has been done. It shows at some point women start thinking about family. They want time to meet people. Like he was talking about lawyers. How you spend all your time going through files and cases and all those things. You don't have time for social life. By the time they get to 32, 33, they begin to think, my biological clock is ticking. I need a man. I need to get married. I need children. I need to settle down. And they actually walk away from career. When they get a family, it becomes more important to them than career. What happens is that they leave farms hanging because you can't force someone to work. And at this point, career is not that important to them anymore. And it's like women are sort of wired that way. He said very few women continue on that line of career with the men until they are 50, 60 when they're retiring. You find only men get to those stages. So he said, I think he was saying in light of that, there is the whole, when women get these jobs, and a friend of ours did a study of it someday. He said every day he would look at the matatu akiingia kwa mat. 3/4 of that mat is girls going to work. A quarter, very few are men. And he would wonder, where are the men? The men don't, because the jobs are trying to be, to sustain the image that we're getting. Women are getting women get more jobs than men. So men are left out in the streets. The girls get the jobs. Then picture it. At 32, 33, they don't want it anymore. They want families. Now what happens to that per capita that Simone was talking about? So it's a bit of a, I don't know, when you think about things like 4 or 5 days in a month we're not okay, or when you get pregnant and for an entire maybe year, 9 months of a pregnancy and the child being young, you are something else. Just do something to the economy of the country.
Yeah.
So, and when the babies are young and you get another baby 1 to 3, I think it's a very sensitive role to walk. I don't know how it should be walked in light of everything that we are as God has formed us to be, naturals, and you know, I don't know how to approach the whole issue of feminism, because you can fight for it now when you're young, when you're 20s, but who's to say when you're 30s we'll sustain the same fire? Maybe we don't want it anymore. Maybe we want to be mothers.
But you see, that's like, you doesn't mean that you wanting to be a mother is taking away from like the growth or sustainability of the nation as a whole. I mean, your role as a nurturer plays, actually, even before you become a mother, when you're a wife, your role as in nurturing your husband, as in it has an effect in his effectiveness at work. So for example, you find like you will see it especially with widows. So a man who has been married for 30-40 years and then he loses his wife. In the first few months, that man is disoriented. Like he
12 years down the line.
Widowers.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Sorry, widowers. Yes.
Like 12 years down the line.
Yeah, like
still not functioning.
yeah, like he's because if you're so used to somebody taking care of you, you don't know how to do that on your own, right? So don't underestimate the person that is there to take care of you. The person who takes care of all the small nitty-gritties that you don't have time to think about. Someone who provides for you food daily, make sure that you have a roof under your head or just shelter, comfort, encouragement, support. That's not a small thing. That's a very big thing. And we can't say that now we are going to make nationwide decisions about, because it's not just about career. Feminism is not just about, it's about opportunities in terms of education, health care. Like, just look at the Constitution, see that Bill of Rights. Like, it should be able to apply to men and women equally. Rights of speech, right? Like everything. But why I feel like as let me say Africa, I don't know about other countries, other nations, but like why we are,
imagine it's a global thing. That's
global
the
thing.
thing.
Let me say why. I'm saying why I would say that as Africa we might be a bit slower is because we are struggling with tradition. Because tradition is saying that women should not speak, women should not go to school, women shouldn't do this. Then we are saying, why should we invest? Why should we give them equal rights? Why should they have a voice in parliament, for example? Why should they lead companies and be CEOs? Why? Tradition is saying that's not what they should be. So that's where we are fighting with feminism right now. And people feel like you can't be a feminist and still be traditionally a good wife, a good mother, a good woman, which is so wrong.
Or you can't even be a feminist. That's something that happened on Twitter. You can't be a Christian and a feminist.
Yes.
You can't, because I'm a feminist.
I've seen that conversation.
Yeah, no, it's something that was happening.
Yeah,
but
I think
it's the idea that
I think
if you're a
it goes back
feminist,
to the
you don't-
definition.
Yes, as if you're a feminist, you won't submit your what?
Exactly.
Right.
That's crazy. I'll submit even more, because submission is about love, really, isn't it? It's
because the whole point of it, me, if I as Lynn, if I'm choosing, because I have a lot of issues with our women reps, by the way. So
yes,
I have a big issue with that. That is a resultant of overdoing feminism, because now we have
With the wrong
people
understanding.
we are paying, but they're not really helping women, and they're there because they're women.
what is a women reps, by the way? I don't know what.
Yeah,
What do
kuna
they
mtu
do?
They're supposed to help. They're supposed
opinion
to their main point is to give priority to women issues. That's the whole
Crazy.
point.
No
In that
wonder
kind
Sasa
of,
what
yeah.
No wonder
women
men are
issues?
fighting
Juu,
for
wewe
feminism.
ushaulizwa swali na yeye ni women
No,
rep
but
anyone?
that's the
Mi
issue.
sijai,
Because you
no
see
one
someone
has.
It should be a
So
community representative to address
That
all
makes more sense.
community issues. All
And you see, the issue
Sasa
is
we-
the assumption is, as a woman, I will get these issues. I get that, but now the problem is a lot of them. Maybe someone corrects me, because
Maybe
I'm
some are
not saying
good.
maybe some are good. I don't know.
Maybe.
But a vast majority of them, I speak from the NAIROBI women, right? They're not even doing anything to a point where you find someone like King Kaka, for instance, starting an organization to help girls get sanitary towels, and we have a women rep. And to a point where they're even up to now, they're still girls, especially in places like Nairobi, who are not going to school for 5 days because they
don't
can't
have
get
access
these
to-
things.
yeah.
And the sanitation all through is an issue. That is my problem. So the whole idea that as a company, because we want to be gender sensitive and gender whatever, but I'm just if I have the chance of employing someone who is qualified, whether, because that's the whole point of feminism, whether male or
Or
female,
female. Yes.
they are qualified.
Choose-
Hire them.
Choose the
But
qualified.
this whole
yeah.
thing of now we're having women, back to what Lorraine said, and
Yeah.
it's actually sad. We have a lot of women who are being hired now,
Mm.
which, thinking about from what Lorraine said, in like 10 years they won't be in your company. They'll be leaving you because they want to have kids. And you let a guy, again, going back to the whole point of feminism, no one empowered this guy, right? We are assuming from birth this guy is already okay. You're fine. You don't need any help from anyone, right? So now we both finish school. I get hired because I'm a girl. I'm less qualified, which again affects the whole economy because whatever this man would have contributed won't really contribute because I was hired because I'm a girl. I'm remotely qualified. I'm the most qualified among the girls, but there's a guy who's even more qualified. So this guy takes a longer time to get into his career.
Yeah.
And then the same woman turns around and wants provision.
From this man. So
Even the emancipated woman ultimately wants to be provided for by her
Yeah.
husband.
because they're quite empowered.
He's not employed.
And then this whole thing of I would not be attached to someone who's not ambitious. Me, I want a guy who's ambitious, right? So financially stable, right? And financially
Yes.
stable. So all of us, and that goes back to the definition of feminism. Because if you all understand, it's about as the moment we enter school from grade 1 or whatever grade, everyone is given equal opportunities. So I will give attention to a boy and a girl equally, and not assuming, because the problem is we assume boys have an advantage. That's the problem.
Yeah.
And so we over focus on the girls. We have all of these things happening for girls, and there's so many in Kenya. So many.
But
That's
you guys,
assumption.
I mean, think about yourselves growing up.
Yeah.
When you were in class with boys, yeah, I'm assuming before you go to high school,
Yeah.
no one focused on you more than a boy.
Yeah.
Not really.
Now. Not
But-
us, yes.
Sissy.
But talk
For
about
you,
someone
you
in
were. Because me,
talk about someone in shags. Talk about
No,
someone
I want
in
us
rural.
to use
To
the
use
information
now,
that we have,
Okay, yeah.
before we
like that.
applied to
Yeah.
people who we haven't met.
Yeah.
So no one focused on me more than the boy who was my desk mate at the time. But at KCPE time, the boys performed better than the girls, and they have been consistently
Yeah.
over the years. And then we go to high school, same thing happens. Then we go to Campo, and they put the low for the girls. They
Lower
lower
the
the pass mark
they-
for
Yeah.
girls to do the same courses as boys,
Yeah.
because they're trying to get us into the same classes, engineering, computer science,
Yes.
all these things, stuff about them.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I don't know why it works that way, that the boys perform better than the girls' education, for some reason. Then we get into the marketplace and they still have to do the same thing for us. They still have to sort of lower it kidogo to just
Yeah.
to get the women in,
Yeah.
so that it's not a man's world only
Yeah.
out there. And I don't know where the difference, and I don't know what to do about it. Even though you've been given the same opportunities, freedom of speech in class, you answer the same questions the way the boys answer, everything is the same. Then you think about yourself right now as an educated woman, and you say it doesn't compromise your what is that, how you can be good as a wife or as a mother. But the truth is, being a wife and a mother requires a lot more responsibility from you.
Yes.
And you get very tired. If you're trying to 8 to 5, you have to
Yes.
get out of the house by 6 to beat traffic, to get to work the whole day, get out of work by 5, go for your kids, come back, make sure there's food. You get
Yeah.
very tired.
Yeah.
Yes.
On Saturday when you should dress, you should wash clothes, you should wash the house, you should, even if you're coordinating another person doing it, you still have to think a lot about all of
Yeah.
that. You get tired.
Yeah.
You decide, manze, maybe I should stay at home and nurture my kids.
Yeah.
And it is good that you're educated, because it means you can teach your children, which is in a make sense, not
Yes.
just random things.
Yes.
But you know, you feel wasted. You ask yourself, mimi na masters kabisa, niko
Yeah.
hapa kwa nyumba nikinacha, inakuuma. It's not many
Yeah.
women who
Yeah.
can make these decisions.
Yeah.
So ultimately, this thing is very complicated, if you ask me. I think feminism is very. We may want to say we're being given all opportunities, and we have, at least those of us seated here, have been given the same opportunities as men.
Yeah.
But still, there is something different in the nature of how we are as women, how they are as men, and how that affects how we live in the world now.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure where. how to work around the whole.
Don't overdo
Let me
one over
let
the
me
other.
uncomplicate, if that's a word, feminism for you. There are people in this country who were not given that opportunity that we had as girls to go to school with boys, to sit for KCPE, and on and on and on. That is what feminism is trying to solve. That girl in the rural village, her and her brother can both go to school. That her father will not tell her, wewe kaa nyumbani,
So that your brother can
so that your brother can go to school. That's all we are trying to
Yeah,
fight.
but so that you see, feminism doesn't end at
But you see,
at inputting inputs.
Mhm.
There must be outputs. There's a way outputs come out.
yes.
And that's what I'm asking. If we're given same opportunities, how are those outputs coming out in such a way that the global economy is taken care of, per capita increases, everything in the nation becomes better because everyone is involved?
Let's read
Hapo kwa
further.
output
I
level.
think-
The
I think-
statistics
yeah.
are there.
I think ideally when you go further, because this whole movement is happening because there's a point, because in the West it became an issue after it came to light that there were specific entertainers who the specific male entertainers who are being paid extremely more than the women. Like it's like times 5, times 7 more than, and you guys have the same role. And it was even happening in Kenya. I think the whole point of feminism is, at no point will we ever say, for instance, your husband is, there are specific spaces or things where he's more advantaged over you. Regardless of how different
Only
you are,
because he's
only
a man.
because he's a man.
Not
That's the
because
difference.
he's more
Unless and
It's the
unless
same,
qualified
it's
or-
the same thing
question
with
is,
racism.
Yeah.
Would it be, considering the outputs,
Yes.
is it more advantageous
Uh-huh.
to give certain people more advantage in certain areas? Do you get my question?
considering their
The output and
yes,
ultimately the end
consider the
result-
output
No,
that,
when you
that they have
consider
given,
the
not
output-
that you are
man or a
anticipating.
woman.
No.
Oh.
Don't just assume that this woman you have hired in 3 years she'll want a baby and she'll get. That's where we are
Don't
But
fighting.
you
have
see,
that
these things
in
are
Even-
not assumptions. These things are studies done by
Yes,
people.
yes,
And it is a true
but-
fact that 80% of women will do that. So
Yeah.
your boss,
80% of
it is,
women.
Yeah, it's
can
actually
I
a
tell
lot of
you?
women. It's actually a
It
lot
is
of
actually fair for your
It's
boss
true.
to ask
Go
himself,
research.
if I get
Yes,
this woman
but-
here, what does that mean for my company?
Yeah.
So my question is, when we look at the output
Uh-huh.
point, is it more advantageous for the globe to give advantages to men?
No,
With
it's
some other
not.
things.
They have seen that
in
it
light
is.
of
They have seen that
The
it is
outputs.
not. That is why there is
A
a
whole
goal.
movement.
That's why there is a global goal for equality.
well, in certain things maybe. And I'm just throwing spanner in the works. Just certain things.
Let me,
Because
as
I
we
think
can
when we
think, we can think like that now because we are here. We are on the other side of the spectrum. When you are the
From a
one that
point
has
of
been
privilege.
disadvantaged, you will be fighting
It's
for
not
it.
funny.
It's
Yeah.
it's not.
I think
You
yeah.
what we are fighting for is for people to have the right to choose. That woman can sit there in the office and choose, Mr. You want a job. That she can sit down with her husband, the husband and say, it's okay. We're endo tuchungia watoto minta work. We are fighting so that they can have the choice. That's it. Because men have that choice.
And the employer. What
Them-
happens to the employer?
That's
Everything
the
is
thing.
at risk.
Let me
ideally.
tell you, Lorraine.
So
Let me tell you.
When
Let me
his
tell you,
company loses
Lorraine.
people,
The odd
he
thing.
makes it make.
Ooh, I go out of
Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. I'm internalizing. Sorry.
I think the odd thing is you employ because let me just talk about right now. Think of people within your age bracket. How many people do you know that have been in the same company for more than 5 years? And they are planning to stay there for maybe another
Forever.
5 years. It's very unlikely.
Okay, now I've lowered
us
that.
as millennials, we are changing our jobs. We are changing our jobs more.
As we go.
Our parents stayed. You find their generation, people worked 20 years in the same job. And for that to happen, that means mtu alianza akiwa 25 ama 30.
Okay.
Ndio ukae 20 years. Ndio. Us, we are changing our jobs every if in 6 months hiki tu mimi nimetoka hapa. People are not patient, or let me say patient, to see it through, let's say, right? They want better, faster. So even if your employer was saying, if I employ this girl in 6 months, she'll be pregnant, let me take the man. The man could leave in 3 months. You don't that's not a guarantee anymore.
Let alone the amount of time you stay in the employment position you have.
Yeah.
some things are
Thank you.
for kujipush.
Yeah.
Men can stay at work mpaka 8-9 and that's fine
Yeah.
because akifika home atapata food imepikwa na
Yes.
spend time 1 hour with the kids
Yes.
and it's fine. Wherever you cannot afford to stay at work until 9 p.m.
Yeah.
Whether you stay there for
After
10 years or
5:05, after 5:05.
because you have to get the kids out of school, you have to make sure they are clean, they have
Yeah.
done their homework, they have done this. And you can say we can do this with my husband, but men are not wired to be naturals.
Yeah.
So they might even do a horrible job because let me do this on my own. So women can't push themselves the way men can because the home situation does not allow them. Even you don't know because you're tired. So in thinking about all the things you have to do, even you can't get to work before 6. A man can.
Yeah.
They shower within 15 minutes for crying out loud and they're out. Wake up pambe. 2 hours. Ndio ufike mahali unaenda. Do you see?
But that's a
Circumstances
choice.
just don't
No,
work.
and I'm
So
saying
like choices.
So I'm saying employers may not even just consider she'll get pregnant or she might want to leave when she's 35. If there's those things for, do I have someone who at 9 p.m. I can make a call and they can turn up here and do this and then go back home and it's fine.
But
They can't have that
But
with
understand, Lorraine, that's not a gender issue per se. That's a lifestyle issue. For example, you could have a man, but he has children, and him is like me. I want to be home by 6. And you have a woman who has no children. She's
But
not
it's
married. She's not
prevalent.
dating.
It's prevalent among
No,
the women more than
but-
men as per data.
But when your employer is looking at that, the only way they can know that information, which by the way it's illegal, is if they ask you, are you married? Do you have children? They're not allowed to ask you, but they'll ask
But
you,
they ask.
are you married? Do you have children? Then that's what informs that decision. Because if he asks you and then you say, no, I'm single, I'm not dating, I live with my parents,
They
so
want
I don't
that.
have any ex. They're
So
like,
what if they
oh,
ask you categorically, Simone, are you going to be able to be in this office even if it's beyond work time because the office needs you? And you say, mi sitaweza. And
Then-
based on that answer, they tell you, therefore I cannot
that
do
is
this.
okay.
that is called equal
Oh.
opportunity.
It's not.
No, yo.
It's not. Him deciding on
Tidy
his
Yeah,
own.
imagine I
This
don't
is a
feel like
woman.
That's equal opportunity.
That's very equal.
Because
That
I
is-
feel like, so what about my 8 to 5? Kwani that doesn't matter for you? And I need work. So what if employers do that?
get work
What
where
to do as a
It's the
woman?
same way. The different companies have different work schedules, right?
Yeah.
For instance, there's someone
Yeah.
who is not comfortable working on a Saturday. There's someone who's very comfortable working even the whole of the weekend. They're like, I am
Yeah.
fine, you guys.
Yeah.
So whatever you've just explained, that's equal. It's the one that will not be equal is that
The
person
employer.
deciding.
You,
Lorraine
this is a woman.
She will not
in
do
3 years
that.
I know atakuwa na
Or
yeah.
najua it's them concluding that because Lorraine is a woman, she will not be able to stay at 9
And because
Up to
Lorraine
9.
is a
Without
woman,
having to
she
ask,
cannot
without
be as
knowing
dedicated
that.
as a
as
man.
as
But what
nanny.
is data for then?
But
It's-
on
and,
what
and,
on
and, and I
which
think that's the problem.
data?
I think it's
Empirical data studies.
I think
have
it's what
shown
you use the
but-
data for.
Studies no understand that studies are used to generalize information about a population, not individuals. I
But
can't
who
use
makes that
I can't use
population?
as no
Individual.
I can't
Question.
no I can't use
They
a
actually
study.
talk to populate to
No,
individuals.
Lorraine,
to
sample.
make-
Lorraine,
Yeah,
understand. A
population.
study will tell you, will help you to understand statistically in this population of women, this percentage. But I cannot take a study and say studies have shown women get pregnant at 30. So lean will get pregnant at 30.
She's
I can
29
say
now,
in
so.
the Ligwa,
Chances
studies
are.
have shown 30% of women. I don't know that lean is one, but 30 out of these 100 women will get pregnant. But I can't say you. Studies have shown me 4 out of 5 women have cancer. Lean, you have
The-
cancer.
the
Unaenda
question-
kukua
the
na-
answer will not be you will have cancer. It will be that
You
chances
might.
are
Which
high
is
chances.
which is
80%.
so you
I
can't
think
base
that-
that's
I-
not equal.
for me,
And
for
they're
me,
trying to map out
for me,
needs
I
their future.
think it's okay. Use the studies. Just don't
Yes.
conclude in the interview room, or if you are deciding if you're to give someone a chance to do masters or not, or whatever opportunities.
Yeah.
Just don't decide on behalf of this person because you're
You're
a
a
woman.
woman.
You cannot ask me the same way you'd ask this man, the same way you'd ask that transgender person,
Or
whoever is in between,
Whoever.
whoever person,
Yeah.
you will ask.
yeah.
Because that's and the problem is, as a country, no, globally, we make the decision for us. Which is the sad bit is in terms of women pay, because of provision, because men provide, even employers decide, I am going to promote this person
Man.
and pay them more
More
because
than the
they're
woman.
a provider. And you guys are doing the same job description, maybe even better. But because he's a provider and he is a man, I'm going to pay him more.
Provider
It
is
makes
one
more
thing.
makes
Provider is one thing,
Eh.
because they also do that with women. Women with children earn more than women who are single.
who are single.
Yeah.
But to say that because he's a man,
Sasa hiyo ndo where the equity bit comes in, as opposed to
But
No,
you know,
women with
it's funny
women
how
with
if
children
it was your
earn more.
husband being paid more
Of
because
course,
he's a
Missy,
provider.
man.
See, that's the thing. It depends on where you're standing on this.
I think
Wait,
imagine that's
Wait,
this.
Nini's you.
And it depends. I think for me, it all goes back to what she said. It's the individual. Because for me, I'd feel very bad if my husband comes and tells me he even knows he's being paid more than a colleague because he's a man. That would really bother me. Only because he's a man, not because my
better.
husband is better. Because for me it's performance based. For work it's performance based.
Yes.
You are just supposed to be paid more because of your performance.
Performance.
Nothing more, nothing less. Not because you know someone, because you're better, right? So if you, mimi, I know as your wife, you're not even better. You're just like, he works even harder. But you're being, and this is happening a lot and it's across all
Maybe my
industries.
case is that thinking is too simplistic. The whole feminism thing has to be thought about in greater light than work is just about performance. There is the fact of men are providers, and even we women know.
Yes.
Ultimately, we want men to provide for us,
Yes.
even
Yes.
at a pure emancipation to what level. So you see, you can't just think it should be performance based, because on the other hand, the truth is men are providers. You can't just think, are you going to be here until 9 p.m? If the answer is no, you can't be here, because you must think of me as a mother and as a wife. I cannot, but I need the work.
But
For
if
the
you
sake
can't
of my
imagine,
dignity, not just for the money. Working gives people dignity.
Yeah.
Kutoka ni kama unaenda mahali na kurudi jioni kila siku gives you dignity. So you have to think about that when you make that decision. So it cannot be simplistic thinking, just performance based.
it's as simple as asking
Can
you,
I make my plans with the company with you in mind? It cannot just be like that. This feminism thing has to encompass the entirety of how humanity has been formed by God. The nature of a woman, the nature of a man, how that affects the world. All of those things have to be put in. So Mr. Kiostory are performance based.
Okay, can I read
But
what
that, before you read,
provider?
it's okay, but the problem is going back to what I keep on saying. A lot of people don't even think of that. They don't even think of, okay, so Lorraine, she might be different, she might be this, so I can even custom make her job to suit her.
Yeah.
People don't think of that.
People don't.
The problem with now inequality is I don't even think of that. I don't even decide as a company I want to make it more comfortable for this person who goes to church on a Saturday. No, it's are you comfortable with no, that's okay. But now the problem is I decide for you as your employer,
because then you find employer, like my employer is like that. He will
You
think
know
of
your employer. Okay.
think about your particular situation.
Yes.
Like we had a member who had many children, one of our staff members. So the employer just decided rent is on us. You see, because
Can I come to my
money is
employer?
thinking your
Can I
money
come
is
to my
basically, you
Yeah.
see. So
Yeah.
that customer, then that's why Safaricom does things like
Yes.
there's a
Exactly.
place for mothers
That's
to
why-
work.
yeah.
So that customizing now works because it means they have looked at you as an individual, not you in everything that comes with you.
Thank
as
you.
an individual.
And not deciding I will not hire you because in the next 3 years you might get pregnant.
Yeah, or
As opposed
because
to-
you can't be here.
Exactly.
It's because you are a provider.
For instance-
Because maybe you are a single man, you're not providing for him.
But maybe even sometimes I can't stay at work up to 9,
Tax,
but
lazima.
I know.
but if for instance, as simple as to solve all of these things, it's as simple as I'll give you an opportunity as a woman to work here, but as a company, because I'm thinking about you as a woman, I decide you have the option of working from home. So you come to work 3 times. That's okay. It's not me deciding. I will not hire you based on statistics by some guy called JD, and I've decided I won't hire you because of the possibility that you might get kids. It's working around the issues and deciding, okay, in the event I'm going to hire this person, and anticipating, so women, they get pregnant when they're around 30. What can you do to make it better?
Okay, let me read this. Feminism is a range of social movements, political movements, and ideologies that aim to define, establish, and achieve political, economic, personal and social equality of the sexes. Feminism incorporates the position that societies prioritize the male point of view and that women are treated unfairly within those societies. So feminist movements have campaigned and continue to campaign for women's rights, including the right to vote, to hold public office, to work, just work, to earn fair wages. Fair, hata sio equal kwanza, fair wages, equal pay, and eliminate the gender pay gap, the right to own property, to receive education, to enter contracts, to have equal rights within a marriage, and to have maternity leave. That's what feminism is fighting for.
Yeah.
That women can own property, they can work, they can get educated. Fair. Not even just equal to men. Yani fair. Don't pay women meager just because they are women.
So
that's what we're fighting for.
Because it was even an issue with just recently, I think it was mid last year, with Kenyan MCs. A lot of the women realized they were being paid significantly less. Like, you literally MC'd with a man. You did the same thing. You went on break together. You literally the same thing. Then you discover you're being paid like 100 G's or 50 G's less than this person.
This reminds me of that passage in the Bible where may agree, I will pay you $1.
Yes.
Ni nini shida yako si tuliagree.
And then the
wote
third bit
mkilipiwa this at the end of the day mnalia. Okay.
But that's the thing, right? If all of us maybe we ought to move from the point of just because your manager agreed on this and you agreed on this, you are okay with, I see your manager didn't. But how comes it never happens with women and women? With two women, it's equal. What are the same? But if it's men and women, it's significantly, excessively different. Me hapo kwa wages, mostly I've seen. There I have evidence. I've seen even in my career, other people's careers, I have seen it. For that one, I'm sure. I'm 100% sure. I know my friends who have been victims. I know such things exist.
Okay. So let me say this. So yeah.
Interesting.
So imagine tech. Anyway, so I think feminism has been, will be, and will continue to be there for the mere fact that we are evolving as people. Because back then, it was survival for the fittest. If you have strength, like actual strength, muscle, nini, when not to survive, you'll be the one to push and do whatever to make life happen. But right now, in the world that we're living in, you need, creativity. You need being resourceful, being all these things, doing all these things to be able to survive. So see, it's not just about survival for the fittest. So if you are able to do the same thing, it would be great if you're paid fairly. Because even back then, I think I saw this in like a film maybe, like the main jobs for women were very limited. I mean, this is a fact, It was very limited. Achana na sasa Kenya, Africa, even in the West, they had very limited jobs and very minimal pay. So I think it's just the evolving that we are doing, which we will continue to evolve. So this conversation will be, has been, and will continue to be there.
We need Jesus.
We just need Jesus. So overrated. I think there was a phase where we were like, oh no, feminism. It was just conversation, but no one's really doing anything about it. So for that part, I think it was overrated at that time. But seeing as to it's something that will always be in question, it will always be and should always be conversed about. I mean, look at how long we've taken to do this part. So yeah, I think it'll always and will continue to be there. Just